these are complete fabrications. They're false. And we know the source of these allegations, where they're coming from. And we are hoping that now the investigation is likely to have begun or will begin. Then these things will be tested and put before a court of law. And if the justice system in this country is as independent as we know it is and hope to be, then they will be tested and found to be not true.
So you sound quite confident that this investigation by the Met Police and whatever comes after that will reach the conclusion that your father has done nothing wrong.
Yes, 100%, 100% confident with that. The reason why I'm confident is because we, first of all, knew and expected these allegations to come. It's not unique to my father. This is something which is of a pattern with the Rwandese government, with the government in Rwanda, when it comes to anyone who is critical, has been critical of the regime. They have used genocide and the crimes against genocide as a tool to oppress and to silence any opposition or any criticism of the government and the policies of the government. As you can appreciate, and anyone listening can appreciate, genocide is probably the worst or one of the worst crimes anyone can be accused of. And they have used this crime of genocide, which is something which is tragic that took place in our country, something which rightly we should never forget, and we should always remember and always speak about the tragedy and the evil of the actions of some individuals in trying to kill as many people as possible 25 years ago. But unfortunately, the government is using that very action and those crimes as a political tool for silencing the opposition, silencing critics. And my father has been one of these critics, and that's why these are being leveled against him. And even myself, I have been accused of this. Only recently, a government minister accused me of being a genocidaire, which is laughable and ridiculous in its merit, because I was very young. I was a child when I was in Rwanda. There's no way possible I could have been. But because I've been critical of the regime, then I've been called a genocidaire. We know many people who have been called genocidaires who were not even in Rwanda in 1994. And so it's a blanket accusation which is put out to those who they want to silence.
How have these allegations affected your family? Have you felt pressure, under strain, distressed at all?
Great pressure, great strain. It won't be true to say that these haven't affected us. I have younger siblings who, when these allegations first came up many years ago, when it was an extradition process, you could see the strain that this was having. They were still in school. In the local community, of course, many people who don't understand the context of the Rwandese situation, many who don't understand how many despotic and dictatorial regimes in Africa work, they assume some of these things to be true when they hear them on the news. But what we've been blessed to have a community that is understanding and which has gone and done their research, that has spoken to us and seen with the evidence from other sources and with the pattern of the regime, they've come to conclude that these cannot be true. These are false. My father has an account of how his character was in Rwanda. He was a Christian pastor and a preacher. He helped many people during the genocide. Even though we were in danger and running for our own lives, we were together with Hutus and Tutsis, and there is no way that these things could be true. And when someone takes any interest or any keen look at what really happened, then they can see that these are allegations which are false, and they can see a pattern which is happening or has been happening with the regime to using these things to silence people who they think are criticizing what they're doing.
Finally, from me, Peter, how has Christianity been of help to your family? How has it helped with coping with what you've described as a very difficult time?
Our faith is everything. That's our faith in God is what we build. We have always built our lives on, even before these allegations, these accusations, before these problems came into our lives. We've always stood on faith. Our story is a long and complicated one. We have seen our lives saved. God saved our lives even when we were in the war, in the genocide. We have come close to death. I myself has come so close to death that I've had a soldier pointing a gun at my head at the age of 9, ready to pull the trigger. And it's faith in God which has seen me and my family go through these situations. Um, Faith in the country has been attacked in Rwanda. And I believe that this is what's happening to my father is an extension of the bigger picture that is happening in the country. Only recently, last year, the government closed down 8,000 Christian churches. These are some of the things which we have been advocating against. We've been critical and putting pressure on the government through different means, through lobbying foreign governments and institutions. And these are some of the things which are causing the government to retaliate against my father, against myself, against many people who are standing up for the truth and trying to see the oppression in the country coming to an end. And so you can imagine 8,000 churches in a country closing in one instance. Many people have tried to meet clandestinely and without meeting in churches, and they've been imprisoned for doing that. But overall, we believe that God is in control. We believe that our faith and our prayers are not in vain, and we will continue to see God's work in the country as well as in our family, as well as in this situation, which we believe will come to a conclusion, which will be positive for us. One thing I would like to ask your listeners and the readers of your paper is that just keep on praying. Not maybe you may not pray for my family because you don't know us, but pray for the country of Rwanda. Pray for the region. There's a lot of bloodshed. There's a lot of oppression in that country. There are many churches and many people who are being oppressed purely for speaking the truth and sometimes for being who they were born to be. And so we just ask that many people who all have faith in God can just pray and remember to pray for the country of Rwanda and for the continent of Africa as much as possible, because we believe that God is going to revive that place and people are going to see the light of God once again.